Welcome to the HTMA Success Practitioner's Corner, a special series in which Susan Cachay highlights the incredible work being done by graduates of the HTMA Success Practitioner Training Program.
Hi everyone, I'm Susan Cachay, creator of HTMA Success, and I'm here today in the Practitioner's Corner with Rosemary Slade, and it's so great to have you join me today. Love doing videos together. And this is just going to be a short video, and I just have a few questions that I'd like to go through with you. And the first one is, how would you say HTMA has shaped your approach to wellness? I guess that would be for yourself and also even with working with clients.
Actually, HTMA is has been the pinnacle for me to get really healthy. And I'm older, so I have a long story, and I'm going to make it as short as possible. But I did every diet known to man and woman, and then in between, been vegan, vegetarian, fruitarian, blah, 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 blah. Nothing ever really worked until I experienced HTMA. And that was what shifted me in such a big way. I got healthy again. I didn't even realize how mentally unhealthy I was until I got healthy enough to realize that I was mentally unhealthy. I was in the delusion, if you will. So that's how it shaped me. And also I'm an occupational therapist and work with a lot of children who have got some significant developmental delay issues and things like that. And for me, I want HTMA for everybody. But however, it happens with the clients who really, really want it and really want to shift their child and are willing to do the work and put the effort into it. So that was a journey in and of itself. So I use HTMA as much as I can for those clients who are willing and able to do it. And they shift big. So, yeah.
And I love how you brought up that you actually didn't know or notice, or you weren't aware, your awareness was decreased until you started doing the program, because our mineral patterns and our stress patterns certainly influence our mental and emotional health. And that is a big piece that I see improving for a lot of people over time, that even though we're not necessarily focusing specifically on that, that really starts to improve in people's awareness of just themselves and what's happening in their life and their situations and what they'd like to change. Wow, I've just seen some amazing dramatic shifts. It's quite substantial. So, and how have you integrated HTMA into your practice? So I know that as an occupational therapist, there were techniques and approaches that you were using before. So how are you able to either combine the two or, shift more into using HTMA? What does that look like?
It actually, it gives me, because I actually work with a lot of kids who've got, excuse me, feeding and eating issues. So, and it ranges from they're either G-tube fed or fed through a tube in their stomach, or they're actually completely refusing food, all of those things. So we have to start somewhere. We start at the beginning, wherever we can get success. And then I start saying, okay, let's put in some carrots. Let's put in some this. Let's look at the colors and go with the colors that are going in the HTMA and seeing if we can, if the kid's a color kid, a lot of them are, if they're on the spectrum, they're looking at certain colors of food. So I'll pull that in, and we just go slow. You can't go really fast with a kid who doesn't have a really wide variety. So, and that would be one of my pieces of information. If you're working with children, you can't just flip things, because you can have a opportunity of a big shutdown. But you can start integrating it slowly. The eye on the prize within the next 6 or 8 months. My kid's going to be eating, 3 different vegetables, different textures of food, and we're looking and we're working into the band of all of the things that are in the diet. And meantime, tons and tons of education. The families switching as well. into what the diet is.
Yeah. And that's so important, right? That everybody is doing it together. And I always say when parents have contacted me and are interested in having their child work with me on the program, how important it is that at least one parent, ideally both, if there's two in the home, or even otherwise, that are on it as well. And I find, wow, does that ever work so much better than just having a child on the program, you know, in the family.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to hear you kind of have this niche that you've created and that you've worked with. And I love hearing the success stories, you know, over the years that we've been in touch with, just how dramatically some of the children have improved.
Dramatic. And the thing is, for me, I want them to be on the diet like right away, just because I know how great it is. But I know the reality of the situation and the stress level of the mom and all of these things. And I have learned over the years to give grace to the process and to the journey. This is really the truth. Yes.
And
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 that
doing it along with the minerals shifting as well makes a big difference, right? I think that is key. I think that diet is so important, but starting with those small amount of minerals that we can see from the HTMA are needed really makes a big difference in changing the stress patterns. Like if a child is showing a belligerence pattern, for example, with the low magnesium, just shifting that pattern, oh my gosh, it makes them so much easier to deal with and to respond to the program. So
absolutely, yes, indeed. So
big
yeah,
difference.
yes, it's been my life's work is working working with children, and so it's actually part of me, part of who I am is this. I'm the
Yes.
part of the package.
Yeah, exactly. And what would you say is the biggest lesson or takeaway for you in working with HTMA over the time that you've been involved with it?
One of the biggest takeaways again is the fact that I remember now just how deranged, and I say that I was deranged mentally. I
Yeah.
didn't think I was deranged, but
Yes.
I believe that there was like this higher self of mine that shifted me into HTMA.
Yeah.
And my takeaway is, I'm assuming that people are as put together as I am mentally now. I say don't make those assumptions. They're coming to you because they're not feeling well,
Yeah.
and they think that they're making good decisions, and they think that they're doing these things, and you won't know what they're doing really until later, till they figure it out and they go, oh man, I was really doing this and I was doing that. But I think the big takeaway is just knowing that there's a possibility that they're just really not quite 100% in their right mind, but that's okay. This is where we're headed: is to have take away all that stuff, get some clarity, and that's been my biggest takeaway: is getting the clarity with the client, and it's never even really mentioned, you know?
No, I know. Isn't that amazing? I think there's
Yeah.
something I always talk about the ionic mimicry that we deal with on the program, where we're always constantly replacing those preferred minerals with the toxic minerals or metals that the body has used in substitution of the preferred minerals because either there was a shortage or they were out of balance. And I even think that is a big piece of what you're talking about, that lowered awareness or living in more of a delusional state. And I tend to use the example, and I've used this example more than once, of that fan belt. Well, you know, the fan belt goes on your car and you're out in the desert and you can't replace it right away and you take off your jeans belt. It might work 10 or 20% and keep the car kind of going, but it's not even near functioning 80, 90, or 100%. So I really believe that what you're talking about in terms of that increased awareness and just, wow, I just haven't seen that before, seen those in that way, happens when we're removing interference, right? A big part of it is removing that interference from the toxic metals and replacing those with the minerals that are where our body's supposed to be running on. And I've seen, yeah, over the years, people just become more aware of toxic relationships that they're in, jobs, things about themselves. And it's you know, just a process. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Amazing. And what advice would you give for HTMA practitioners who are just getting started doing this work?
I'd say to really, it's not an all or nothing thing. And I'm kind of that way, but so that was what I had to, if somebody would have told me this, you know, back in the day, they don't
Right.
have to follow everything. They don't have to be like all type A and follow everything. Give grace, give themselves some grace. And in that, they're going to give their client the grace to know that it's okay to do this. It's okay to slip. It's okay to not be perfect, because this is a pattern that a lot of people have, myself included. I'm not going to do it unless I can do it 100% right.
Yeah.
And so for a new practitioner, this is, you know, there's the temptation there. And what do you tell someone when they're saying that to you? And you know what I'm saying. So
Yes.
the
Yes.
big thing is learn how to ask really good questions, learn how to listen, and learn how to just be supportive at the level the client needs. And sometimes they don't know it, but I know I have a lot of clients that need support up front. They'll cruise along for, you know, a couple years and they'll start needing support again. Sometimes they need nothing, and then all of a sudden they need lots. So it's so just knowing that.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And that is one of the things that I learned along the way too. And I always say to newer practitioners where it's lovely when you have a client that just is gung-ho, they want to go 100% and they dive into everything. And that's really wonderful. But it doesn't mean with clients that aren't ready to do that yet, that they're not going to see progress. And regardless of what aspects of the program that they're doing and to what extent, they're going to see some benefit. And I don't know, I've had this happen too many times to count, where a person will start and they'll, you know, do a retest. They're not doing that much, but wow, things are already starting to shift and change in the body. Just few supplements, a little bit of diet tweaks, and it's motivating. The person starts to notice that, wow, yeah, I do feel better with this, or I do notice that something is happening and shifts are taking place. And it's more motivating for the person to do more. So I agree, there's that all or nothing kind of mindset that I think is not helpful. And some people that have that, some of the clients that I work with that have had that, that's actually been one of their lifestyle issues. Like we see lifestyle issue indicators, it's actually been a lifestyle indicator because they're the type of client where they're either on the program 100%, or if they have one meal that's not kind of part of what we recommend, they're off for a number of months before. And I'm like, no, that's just that's not going to ruin the program, right? So we're just kind of, we have to live our lives as well. And so we're doing the best that we can. And I think that's really, really great advice, because I think that's so important for sure. For sure. So thank you.
I'll keep moving on, keep moving forward.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I appreciate you joining me today, because I think it gives new practitioners and other people just a bit of an insight as to what key things that you'd like to pass on from your experience. And if anybody's interested in learning more about HTMA Success or learning how to get in touch with Rosemary, you can check the description box below. And please subscribe so you get notified of more of these videos as they're released. Thanks so much, Rosemary.
You're welcome. Always chat with you, Susan.
You too. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.